Rubber plant info and care. Worldwide popular, Ficus Elastica or rubber plant is an unmistakable choice for everyone who wants to decorate their home with a long-lived, durable, easy-to-grow but sizable indoor plant. With its impressive appearance, this plant will bring an exotic tropical atmosphere into your home. In return, it requires surprisingly little care and, of course, enough space to show its jungle-like verdure and luxury. What is Ficus Elastica? Ficus Elastica is a large evergreen tree that, in its natural habitat, can grow up to 15 feet and form a trunk 5 feet in diameter. Even as a houseplant in a container, it can grow over 6 feet, if not limited by shortening the tops. The leaves are alternate, slightly elongated and egg-shaped, up to 10 inches long and 5 inches wide, with a pronounced central vein. They grow on short petioles and have entire edges and leathery, shiny leaves with pointed tips. The new leaves appear as a reddish tip on the stem that gradually unrolls. In young plants, the stems are green, soft, and pliable, but over time, they become gray and woody. How to care for Ficus Elastica. Ficus Elastica adapts perfectly to standard indoor conditions despite its tropical origin, so it has an almost iconic status among indoor plants. Apart from sufficient space, it does not require special conditions, and with a little basic care, it can decorate your living space for decades. Light. A general botanical rule says that plants with dark leaves cope better with reduced sunlight, which is often the case in our homes. From that point of view, Ficus Elastica is an ideal indoor plant and can thrive even in a corner a few feet away from a light source. However, the ideal position for this plant is next to an east or west window where it will receive 6 to 8 hours of indirect light. Variegated types are particularly sensitive to reduced lighting and may lose their colors in too deep shade. On the other hand, Ficus Elastica does not tolerate direct bright sun, so it must be moved at least 3 feet from an unshaded south-facing window. Soil. Ficus Elastica grows well in an all-purpose soil mix blended with perlite in a ratio of 1:5. Such a mixture ensures airiness, good water permeability, and enough nutrients for growth. Like most other tropical plants, the rubber plant likes neutral to slightly acidic soils with a pH of 5.5 to 7.0. Fortunately, ready-made mixes generally have just such a pH value. Temperature. Ficus Elastica is a typical indoor plant that prefers a uniform temperature between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year. The lowest temperature it can handle is about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can drop its leaves even at that temperature. Therefore, you should keep it in a warm room without large temperature fluctuations and exposure to cold drafts. In other words, your Ficus Elastica will feel comfortable where you are comfortable too. Watering. In the growing season from spring to autumn, you should water the rubber plant at intervals of 7 to 14 days, depending on the size of the container and the level of light. The substrate should be dried to a depth of 1 inch between 2 intervals. For comparison, a plant in a 5-inch diameter pot needs 1 hour of water every 10 to 12 days. You will recognize a thirsty plant by the inwardly bent edges of the leaves and an overwatered plant by the dropping of the leaves. You should reduce watering by half in the dormant phase during autumn and winter. Fertilizer. The basic care of Ficus Elastica includes monthly feeding with water-soluble, balanced fertilizers for indoor plants with an NPK ratio of 10-10-10. At the end of autumn, stop additional feeding since the plant is dormant and does not need an extra nutritional stimulus. Repotting. You should transplant young plants every spring for the first 4 or 5 years. Older specimens can stay in the same pot for 2 or 3 years until the roots become visible on the soil surface. Generally, a 2-inch layer of soil between the root ball and the pot wall is enough for the plant to grow normally. In the case of very large specimens, you can reduce the lateral root veins by 1/3 and return the plant to the same pot with refreshed substrate. Of course, the container should be stable, equally deep and wide, and have essential drainage holes at the bottom. Propagating. The simplest way to propagate Ficus Elastica is by cuttings at least 3 inches long. You can take them from early spring to midsummer, put them in a jar with water, and keep them in a shaded place at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Alternatively, you can stick the cutting directly into the substrate, but it roots more successfully if you dip it in a rooting hormone. Be patient since the cuttings develop roots in 6 to 8 months. Pests and diseases. Properly cared for, Ficus Elastica is not prone to pests and diseases. Yet, Overwatering can cause root rot, mold spotting, or leaf lesions. Remove all infected leaves and transplant your rubber fig into a fresh substrate if you notice these symptoms. Remember that the plant copes with a lack of water more easily than excess water, so never overdo it. In addition to the aesthetic effect, preventive measures such as regularly dusting the foliage with a damp cloth help the plant breathe more easily, maintain the increased humidity, and eliminate sap-soaking pests such as mealybugs, thrips, and scales which can settle on its leaves. That's everything you need to know to successfully grow and nurture your Ficus Elastica or rubber plant. With its bold foliage and impressive size, it's a stunning addition that brings a bit of the tropics right into your living space. If you're intrigued by houseplants and want to expand your indoor garden, why not explore another fantastic and easy to grow plant? Check out this video, Spider Plant Info and Care Guide, where we dive into everything you need to know about this resilient and popular houseplant. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more helpful plant care guides and tips. Thanks for watching, and until next time, life is better when you garden.